guys, we are working on a Johnson Controls / York Lux Air inverter. Oh boy, you can see I got the box with me. I've already been out here back to do the repair. I'm going to take you along for what I found. Before we do that, it's kind of their half-wit attempt to imitate the train variable speed system, I guess, inverter. It's 24-volt controlled. It's not communicating, so the blower runs at a set airflow regardless of what this compressor is running, and you got a cooling 1, cooling 2, cooling 3, cooling 4 stage that it runs in between Y1 and Y2. But anyway, this is the upstairs unit. You saw that access to the attic. You have to have an 8-foot ladder to get high enough to actually get up there and lift yourself across. They didn't build a ladder on the wall. They didn't do any of that. But the guy that owns this house, we do a lot of commercial construction. He does a lot of commercial construction. We do a lot of his heating and air on all that stuff on our commercial side. And he designed this house, and there's just no get this screw out over here. He didn't do a lot of planning for anybody ever coming back to work on anything, so it is what it is. I'm not going up there. So the problem was, I can get this screw to come. There we go. I've been going the wrong way. I don't know. But, upstairs system not cooling, and this thing, let's see what it's doing now. It's the 8 fault code. What is that? And that was the problem the other day. There was no there's not even an 8 on here. So that's the problem. Some of the fault codes don't even match the fault code list here in the unit. And it's like, well, what in the world am I supposed to do? But it had a 47 fault code, which you get those. Now it's showing an 8 on there. I may disconnect R and reset that, but when it goes into a call, but there's not an 8, and that light's doing what? Just solid red. So it just solid red, and there we go, solid red inverter control communication fault. The other day it was a 47, and that's not on there, so I got with tech support, and I think I called and I got somebody in Asia first, and then they transferred me to somebody in the Middle East, and then somehow I ended up with somebody in Texas, I think. Luckily he was from Texas, so as soon as I told him what the fault was, he told me what to do, which is basically it's related to the fan motor not running. Now, I replaced a fan motor in that one about 2 years ago, so the only thing he had me do was unplug this, and these are your wire leads coming from your fan motor, arm them against each other all the way around, blue to white, blue to orange, orange to white. You get about 9 all the way around. So that was good. Check each one to ground, make sure it wasn't grounded, and then once we got through that, he said this thing was bad. I guess he gets a lot of those calls because there's not a fault code for that actually on the list to tell you what direction to go in. It's just a 47. It's like, what is that? It's not on there, not in the book. So I don't know why they don't do that, but anyway, we're gonna get this thing replaced and get it turned on. And it's kind of dark back here, so I got to have my headlamp. It's got all these bushes back here, but gonna get all this disconnected up there. It's got a built-in breaker up there, so we got to get disconnected from that here, and unplug some wires, I guess, and then pull this thing out and get the new one in. All right, so we've got our power disconnected from our breaker up here, and then we have our high pressure switch unplugged. Got our ground wire disconnected down here at the bottom, and this is a wire that connects here from this board to up here. Still got 24 volts. I've got the thermostat in the call. I'm not going to be disconnecting any of that, so I should be fine. Then you've got your compressor, W, V, and U disconnected down here, and then this wire, I guess it communicates between that and this board, unplugged. So we'll, and it also unplugs up here. I don't know if the new board comes with that wire on it. I may have to reuse it, but we'll find that out in a minute. But we will get this out. The heat sink is on the back of it, so I'm assuming that once I get this out, there's going to be a big hole here. The heat sink slides in through it, so when the system is running, the fan is pulling air down here on the heat sink. I don't know if you can see it or not. Right back down there in the bottom, a little bit of light, and helps keep the back of this thing cool, pull the heat out of it. So a little more. Thing weighs about 10 pounds, 12 pounds feels like. We'll start getting the screws out. And yeah, it's just another situation. He designed the house, and some company told him this is what he needs on it, and it's here now. But it's another kind of I don't know. I mean, if I'm gonna have an inverter variable speed type system on my house, I want something that's gonna run my blower, match my blower speed with my compressor speed, so that I'm getting the proper dehumidification and it's doing what it really should do to keep the house. I mean, we'll just take this cover off. You can see what's back here. This thing. There you go. It's a big ass defrost board. Anyway, a couple more screws, but come through there. But I mean, I just put a two-stage system on the house and be done with it. Something you can come back and work on. This thing is just, I mean, and that's what I want on my house all the time. I want something I can come home, and if somebody's me, but in general, a homeowner, you call somebody out, you want it to be something they can fix. Have most of the parts, common parts, things like that. And this stuff is, it just, you got to, it's stuck to the back of this thing, so is there somewhere on the inside now I got to go and take something apart? But I want somebody shows up to my house, they maybe 8 out of 10 times they can fix it. New fan motor, new capacitor, new contactor, new blower motor. You know, okay, I got a leak in it, we'll add some refrigerant to it. You know, just defrost board's bad, okay, we can bypass it and cool it and get it running. You can't do that with any of this crap. If somebody comes out and there's something in here going crazy, then there you are. You're going to be out a few more days without any air conditioning. So, yeah, there's a gasket. That's what it is on the back of this thing. It's just stuck to it. Feels like that's just another step. There's one more screw right there I didn't see. And there you are. So you got a big hole right there. This thing slides in there, that fan runs and pulls that air across the back of this thing. The heat sink keeps it cool. I mean, there wasn't very many wires to unplug or disconnect, so. But this thing is heavy as all get out. But let's get the new one in and see what. Let's get this hole filled in and see if it comes on and works. So here's our new one. The old one's over there. And this thing, it is under warranty. Now we got 2 suppliers. And here's the funny thing about it. It's still got York's name on it, so I called Virginia Air. They had one in stock. They wanted $2,300 for it. And then you got that, but they don't do warranties there, what the guy told me. So I had to call another place, and that place said it was $1,300, and they did do the warranty on it. So it sounds like the other place is trying to make an extra $1,000. I don't know why they had it up $1,000 more than the other place did. Maybe they're trying to double dip, maybe, I don't know, but I don't know why you would be a York dealer distributor, be able to get parts for the equipment, but you don't do the warranty on it. That was a little strange. So anyway, but they had it in stock. But well, I'm not giving somebody $2,300 and somebody else is saying $1,300, and then you get there and then they don't want to do the warranty, or they screw it up, and now you lose your money. So we ordered it, and it took a couple of days to get it to the other place. It is what it is. This thing sits in here and then goes back in. Just want to make sure my wires are, nothing's going to get pinched when I sit this thing in there. I'll get one screw in the top real quick, just to kind of halfway hold it in place. Get some light, make sure all my wires, and that did come with that harness on it, so I'm good to go on that. Nothing appears to be pinched in, so let me get all the screws in this thing, and then we'll start plugging the wires back up on it. Okay, so we got it back in. I have disconnected my R, my Y1 and Y2 down here to remove the coil from the thermostat and to power the low voltage down, so I can power this thing all back up together. So the thermostats are in a coil. It's not a communicating unit. So anyway, so we'll get that high pressure switch plugged back in. And these are our high voltage wires. They go up in there. We'll do that in a minute. So we got this plug here that will go back together there. We've got our ground wire, which is always fun. It's down here in the bottom. See all that get in there, but it's actually the screw. Oops, sorry about that. Not any way to, real good place to put this, unless you can see right there. But there's your ground lug, and the ground wire goes behind the screw that holds the lug to the chassis, which is going to be this wire, or this screw. So now I'm going to get this back down here, get this screw in there, and then get it back over that hole back there. Here we go with that. Probably better off to use a nut driver handle and stop trying to maneuver that drill in there. over my hole. Pain in the ass. I could probably just connect that to any other screw on the cabinet if I wanted to, but I'm gonna try to get it back the way I found it. There we go. Alright, so ground wire's in. I guess this is going to be our communications wire between these two boards and that little harness. And it's on that way. Where does it go on this way? There, it goes on that way. Got that back in. And we got our fan plugged back in. If I'm not mistaken, that's really all of it except for this high voltage. If you can see that or not. I'm going to put these back. And they, gosh, are they going to be long enough? Damn. So let me run them back through here. Let's see if that gives me the extra room that I need to make that turn back to that breaker. You gotta be shitting me. So let me pull some slack out of it. Actually, I'm just gonna cut these zip ties because I don't see that they serve much of a purpose other than just being a literal pain in the ass. That one's got to go up a little bit more. There we go. And the white one is going to go up a little bit more. Alright, now it's long enough. We got to unwire up. The old harness. Hold on just a second. Oh, okay. These are the wires that go on that side of the breaker. These go in there, so I don't need two incoming line voltage harnesses. So I'm just gonna get rid of this one altogether. So that's just your harness for your incoming from your disconnect to this breaker. You disconnect here, and then you tie your high voltage into that, and it goes in. So I get the new drive comes with it. I ain't worried about that. I'll use that for spare wire somewhere. So these are the two wires that have to go up there. I ain't never replaced one of these before, so live and learn. This one in. Sure it's going in there. It's supposed to. trying out some new mosquito repellent. I get tired of using anything with off or anything with DEET on it. So I got some of that lemon eucalyptus from Bass Pro Shops. And it feels quite refreshing on your skin actually. The eucalyptus has a little bit of a, like a mini, kind of like putting that, you get a cold, you put a little bit of that stuff on you so you open up your sinuses. So whenever there's a breeze, your skin gets real cool, feels good. Smells kind of funky, but feels good. Alrighty. So turn that breaker back on. So we have everything, pop these wires back in there behind those clips. So there. Actually, let me get this wire, run it back around so it's not getting pinched. And now we'll plug that back up. So have everything in here plugged in and connected. So we're going to turn the power back on first. Got our little red power light there. And then that's going to be blank because I have the voltage disconnected right now. So first thing I'm going to do is hook R back up and get this board energized. I do still have the reversing valve connected, so then we have a green light. One flash every second. And according to our little board here, our display is 2 seconds on, 2 seconds off, green, standby mode. So I guess that's 2 seconds. I'm counting too fast or something, I don't know. So that's, yeah, 2 seconds on, 2 seconds off. So there we go. So now, let's give it a call for Y1 and see what happens. So now it has changed to cooling 4. But that fast flash is going to be a delay, if I'm not mistaken. Let's see what it says. C4 would be a steady on, but if it's in a for cooling, ASCD period cooling, 0.1 seconds on off, rapid flash. Gonna obviously, I think it makes sense. It's in our delay because we just put power to that board. So let's see what happens after the delay period. Alright guys, so we are up and running. I had to go through another delay period because it went into a 46 fault, which is also not in the code list. But I have to assume it was the compressor because I had forgotten to reconnect those 3 wires for the compressor. So if you get a solid red 46 on one of these things, you've got a compressor problem or an inverter problem. If you get a solid red and a 47, you've either got a fan motor problem or an inverter problem. So we're up and running. The pipe's getting cold. Out of curiosity, let's see how many amps this thing pulls. Let me go ahead and connect Y2 real quick. Whether it'll go into C4 or not, I don't know. It's in C3 out of 4 right now. Let's see what our amp draw is on this thing. I'm just kind of curious. The compressor's running probably maybe what, 70% maybe. I don't know. I'm not that familiar with these things. But with that fan and compressor running right now, we're pulling 9, pretty much 9 amps. Now I know for a fact on the train variable speed systems, when they're running at 60-70%, they're pulling about 6 or 7 amps, depending on what tonnage it is. So they do pull less current than these do. But she's up and running. This is how you do an inverter replacement on a Lux there. Now I just gotta let them know they gotta get the guy out here to get their dryer vent cleaned out before this nice house burns down. I might get some of that out for them and tell them they need to call somebody to come clean that out. But anyway, that's it, guys. Inverter replacement in a high-speed Lux Air. Ain't but one thing to say about this. You gotta love it.